Welcome to Recipe Club, where we debate the best way to cook the food you want to eat. My name is Chris Ying. Here in the clubhouse with me today are three people in shorts and flip-flops, lording over the grill, waiting for you to come back with the drink you promised, because they absolutely cannot step away from the grill, even for a second. First, if there were a prom for Los Angeles chefs, he would be king. Artist, chef, and owner of Anajak Thai, Justin Pichetrungsi. Welcome back to the show. Justin.
Thank you for having me.
Marry, F, kill. The three classics of the backyard barbecue: burgers, hot dogs, grilled chicken.
Burgers, hot dogs, grilled chicken. F, burgers.
Like, fool around with burgers.
Yeah, you have to marry chicken. You have to marry chicken because it's wholesome. It's good for you.
It can be done in a million ways.
Yes. Perfect. Oh no, killing hot dogs is a problem.
No, I think that's right.
Kill hot dogs?
You disagree?
No, I mean, you have to kill hot dogs.
You got to kill hot
What
dogs.
else can you kill besides hot dogs?
You've got to kill hot dogs.
I feel no, I take it back now.
What?
You have to kill burgers because I love a good hot dog.
Wow.
That's insanity.
Next, chef, owner of the legendary Soban, one of the crown jewels of LA's Koreatown, Deborah Pak. Deb, as far as Korean barbecue dishes go, is bulgogi overrated?
Yes. Okay, but if you had bulgogi, like bulgogi literally translates into fire meat, right? Like if you had like a nice char, if you maybe had like a little basket, or like if you cooked it in a way like that is supposed to be and it has like that perfect caramelization and everything, no. But it's very hard to achieve that in a restaurant setting, also very difficult. So I'd say generally yes, but if it's done properly, then no.
Whoa. A perfect Recipe Club style answer. Wow. And finally, his pioneering fire-focused cooking has earned him numerous accolades, including all 3 possible Michelin stars. We talk about him entirely too much. Prometheus himself, Joshua Skenes, is here. Josh.
You can't resist, huh?
What is the ideal drink to have in hand as you are grilling and chilling outside?
I mean, Rouleau on ice, obviously.
Merlot on ice. Rouleau on ice. Excuse me, not Merlot on ice.
You thought I was going to say Chardonnay.
Rouleau on ice.
Very, very specific.
The very ritzy cousin of that Chardonnay on ice that we like to enjoy. As you can see, I have 3 grilling experts in the club today. I brought them here to debate the best way to cook a dish that's so delicious it will bring all the boys to the yard. Each of them has prepared a publicly available recipe, brought the results into the studio where we've all had a chance to sample the goods. We're going to get to all that in a second. Sun's out, guns out. It's backyard barbecue time, people. Woo. So while our hypothetical grill is warming up, let's set the table a little bit here. Barbecuing in general, this is a tale as old as time. The word barbecue comes from Spanish barbacoa, but this is not a Spanish thing. Grilling over open flame is something that everyone around the world has ever done. In America, American barbecue tends to refer specifically to a style of cooking that is slow smoke of, whichever meat your region cherishes for an extended period of time. We're not necessarily talking about barbecue though. Justin, give me your sense of the difference between that kind of American craft barbecue and the backyard grill out, which is what we are focusing on today.
American craft barbecue is about smoked meats and long times and long lines, and backyard barbecue is like simple, easy pleasures at home. Nothing too complex, Wonder Bread, Coors Light.
That's what I forgot for jerky.
Rouleau
I
on,
forgot something.
rouleau on
And
ice.
rouleau on ice.
Josh, what is, Saison, Angler, all of your various restaurants have always had a very customized sort of wood fire focused cooking setup. But for the average home cook who's having a backyard barbecue, what would you sort of recommend? What is the sort of baseline for having a backyard barbecue? Do you ever mess with gas?
I do have a gas grill.
Really?
Oh my
confess.
goodness.
Taste the
Really?
meat, not the
Yeah,
heat.
but I disconnect the gas and I put wood on the side.
No, you do not.
Sometimes. I think it's just it doesn't matter. Just get a Weber. Get a Weber. Use wood and get a Weber.
Just an old fashioned kettle grill.
Some wood. Wood is where the flavor comes from. So I think that, just literally any basin that you can burn wood in. That's what you want.
Just an old sink.
Just put some cinder blocks, throw some wood in there. Put a grate on top and you're good to go.
I want to finish painting this sort of picture of the classic or ideal backyard barbecue. Deb, when we got on the phone to sort of talk about this episode and Recipe Club, you started telling me a story of how your mom does it. Your mom, legendary chef, put Soban on the map really over the past few decades. Can you tell us that story of how the backyard cookout happens at her place?
Oh yeah, so she has this. I want to say it's about 3 feet in diameter. It's like a huge cast iron. I'm not even sure what you call cauldron of sorts. It's meant to you can make a bunch of rice, you can make stews. You can do anything on it. But we use the lid, we flip it upside down, put it directly on wood fire, and we use that to cook meat on it. So for Christmas, for breakfast, we did pork belly on the lid, which is this big, and then we sauteed kimchi and in the pork belly fat. And then we made like fried rice. And you know what? We're actually not a huge drinking family, but like that morning we had shots of soju. Like it's cold outside. You know, there's like the pork belly. There's a sizzling. It's awesome. It feels like you're in Korea when you're at my mom's house.
So the lid, the inverted, so it's like a dome shape
Exactly.
almost. Oh,
It was designed for that?
I'm not sure,
Wow.
but because there's no like plastic, you know, like weird screw-on little handle. So
So
Like
in
a-
the morning, though. Huh?
yeah,
Josh is into it.
yeah.
So like I was saying, cooking food over fire is it's the human story. This is the most universal thing in the world. Cooking meat, cooking anything you can find over open flame. This is it. You know, it has been adopted worldwide, but Josh, I want to come back to you because, you know, you have made your career out of inventing techniques, exploring open fire cooking, whether over embers, you know, over smoke, hanging over the fire forever. Sum up for me a little bit of the appeal of cooking over open fire.
I mean, that's a long list, dude, but I mean, I feel like flavor. Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, taste balance as a whole is the whole end all, right?
And you're from day one, were you like open wood fire is gonna be my thing?
This is a long story. I don't remember. I think I like grilled something in the backyard, and I was like, "This is it." It was like the whole. Yeah, I mean, it was just some random moment where I tasted something that came out of the fire, and it was like this whole taste memory for me as a kid, and then yeah, that was it.
So
Not an
your
exciting
career
story,
has been
yeah.
no. I mean, I think it's interesting because your career is taking to crazy heights in the culinary world, but it is, to your point, the sort of core memory it's based on is what we're talking about: grilling in the backyard.
Yeah.
That flavor.
Yeah.
Let's get into the actual recipes here. There are a billion results, literally over a billion when you search for barbecue recipe on the internet. Everything from rib tips to grilled chicken to brisket, all of these things. But Justin, what do you think makes for a good recipe for a backyard barbecue? What is the defining thing here?
I like something that we can prepare, I would say, way ahead of time that I can kind of finish on the grill. Because I think as a host, you want to be able to show that you're cooking, but also show that it's effortless.
I think so. I like this a lot because I did want to differentiate between I'm going to smoke a brisket for 18 hours, right? And I'm going to be up all night, and then I'm going to be tending this thing the entire time that my guests are here, and then they're going to eat, and I'm going to fall asleep, and it's going to be the worst. Something you can do, maybe you have to put all the effort in ahead of time and then finish it at that moment so you can be a host for your backyard barbecue, I think makes a lot of sense. I also think that there are a lot of things that people grill in their backyards that don't actually benefit from grilling. I know I objected to you killing burgers, Justin, but I think grilled burgers are not as good as a pan burger.
Yeah.
I don't think a burger gets. I don't like a backyard grilled barbecue. You want to fight me on that, Josh? You like a backyard grilled burger?
Grilled burgers can be great.
I think it's better in a pan.
Well, it can be.
I
But
think
that's sometimes it's not what, it's how.
Deb, where are you on the back? Would you rather have a burger in a pan or a griddle or a grilled burger?
Personally, I mean, I think in a pan, but maybe you could finish it on the grill.
Wow, the nuance.
Very politically.
While you guys do that, I'm eating hot dogs.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's a lot of these things, you know what I mean? Like I don't get some of the recipes that you'll see on the internet that are do this on your grill. Why? Especially when it is a gas grill and you're not getting
It's definitely not
smoke.
as good for sure.
It doesn't make
it's not good.
sense. So I think a good recipe, a good backyard barbecue recipe is, yes, something that you can finish without having to be tied to the grill for the entire time that people are there, unless you are, trying to avoid your family and friends and just hiding behind the grill, which we can also do. Smart. And then something that gains something from being grilled, I think are the real things that we should be talking about today. So with the table set, we can move into our recipe reports. Today, each of our 3 Recipe Club members has chosen a publicly available recipe to take for a spin. This week's recipes come from KoreanBBQ.com, the blog A Turtle's Life for Me,
Love the title.
and the brain of Joshua Skenes himself. Deb, Justin, and Josh brought the results of their investigations into the studio where everybody tasted everything, everybody scored everything. I have all of their notes and critiques here in front of me. We're going to go one by one and start exploring some of these recipes. I'm going to go to the Recipe Club veteran, Justin Pichetrungsi. Justin, one of our podcast producers suggested this recipe that we put on a list, and I just knew deep in my heart this was a real Justin catnip kind of recipe.
You guys put it there just for me.
It really is. It really truly was there just for you. It is grilled teriyaki shrimp in a pineapple bowl from A Turtle's Life for Me, a blog run by a woman named Katie who likes to enjoy life in the slow lane, hence the Turtle's Life for her. I just think I did put this on this list with you in mind. I just think it has a perfect blend of playful, but still kind of logical. It makes some sense. You're going to hollow out a pineapple and then you're going to grill the pineapple. It's something that is really written off as dumb. But I think it's ready for its moment in the spotlight. I think that it is possibly overlooked as something delicious, the pineapple bowl, and it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but I wanted to see what you would do with it. So talk to us about your experience making grilled teriyaki shrimp in a pineapple bowl from A Turtle's Life for Me.
A turtle's life really is for me.
No, you don't live a turtle's life. Let's be real. You're living a rabbit's life.
But that's what I'm definitely the life of the hare.
Yeah.
But maybe, the grass looks greener and the pineapples look better over there on the other side. I actually think the recipe had some simplicity to it. The recipe seems a lot simpler than what was brought here by my competitors. And based on my last loss here at Recipe Club, which was it was quite a blow to my ego after I had put in so many hours here on that first recipe. If you want to,
What'd you make?
Go ahead and just play
What did
back
you make?
a flashback of me losing. Oh my goodness! Congrats.
He also made grilled chicken that day, but he. What did you do? You stayed up until 3 a.m. making the marinade. Then he lit a Pichetrungsi grill on his balcony in the rain.
In the rain.
Oh my god.
So I was like, oh, you guys
That
are
makes
gonna
sense.
set up the grill for me? Hell yeah. And Josh is setting up the grill? Oh man. Even better.
Yes, sorry. So before you talk through I want to hear about the recipe itself.
Yes.
But I do want to tell everybody, traditionally on every episode of Recipe Hub, I give you all a reason to be watching this on YouTube or watching this on the Spotify app for the video of it all, because today, just to make everybody's lives a little better and a little harder, these three competitors, I thought it'd be unfair for them to bring a grilled dish to the studio without the benefit of a grill. So we literally set up a Weber grill in the courtyard of the studio here. These three all finished their dishes or grilled them right outside. But Justin, what did you actually arrive with before you threw it on the grill?
Well, I arrived with, so the recipe calls for just white rice with a drizzle of the teriyaki sauce. I wanted to do fried rice, kind of a way to heat it up. Plus, I love grilling fried rice on a cast iron anyways. So I showed up with a hollowed pineapple, some skewered shrimp, chunks of pineapple, some teriyaki sauce that I made, and some of the all the meats for the fried rice. So egg, fish sauce, white pepper, Maggi.
Was the teriyaki sauce according to A Turtle's Life for Me, or did you go off book?
A Turtle's Life for me, based on the philosophy of it, actually recommends to buy store-bought teriyaki sauce.
Oh,
Yes.
A Turtle's Life said to buy store-bought teriyaki sauce. You weren't.
That was the first thing that it recommended. The second thing was, if you really want to make it, here's a way to make it.
Oh, did you follow that method?
No. Not. Of course not.
A Turtle's Life is not for you, man.
A Turtle's Life is not for me. Plus, in order to get it gloppy, they use cornstarch, and the turtle used cornstarch, and I was not going to cornstarch my teriyaki.
So how did you make your teriyaki sauce?
Why was it so thick?
Why was it so? Okay, so in the wok, I did mirin, soy sauce, and a ton of sugar, a little bit of garlic, ginger, and then I just reduced the sugar down, and then I added a little bit of oil in the wok, and that was just enough.
And that was just so you grilled the shrimp outside over the grill that Josh so lovingly set up for us. You painted on this teriyaki sauce, which you were very proud of the consistency. It had I kept calling it gloopy. It's not gloopy. It had a lot of body. It was thick. It was syrupy with no cornstarch.
I thought it looked great. Chris, let me talk.
I thought it looked beautiful. That was a compliment. Gloopy is a compliment. Whenever my wife gets dressed up, I say, "You look gloopy." You said something interesting. You said you love to make fried rice on the grill. Can you explain to people why fried rice on the grill is so good?
Okay, because I live in an apartment in Cape Town, and it's a very sensitive carbon monoxide alarm. So what I've done is just set up a grill and then bring out a pan. You can grill meats and you can use it as a heating element. I think it's a very smart move because doing wok-based or cast iron-based cooking is very smoky inherently. So it's actually a very useful way to kind of have two stations in one. Mm-hmm. That's my thought.
You're also just not usually going to get the BTUs on your home burner.
Right.
I feel like our grill was pretty ripping hot today. You're going to get with the cast iron too.
I mean, it was like in 2 minutes we were done.
Yeah.
It was great.
What do you think about this? Do you, after making this pineapple bowl, you hollowed out this pineapple. By the way, was the hollowing out of the pineapple easy enough?
Okay, so I feel a little bit, got the pineapple from H Mart. Surprised I could even find one. And Kelsey found the one that was probably the most yellow, and it was still pretty. I mean, I feel we're like super unripe here.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually think that the most ripe parts of it are at the edge, the rim of this pineapple bowl. So it's quite wasteful, actually. If I was at home, I'd probably, go at a knife and go a little bit more on the edge. I didn't want to compromise the integrity of the presentation. So I think in terms of wastefulness, it's unfortunately, it didn't work out for me.
All right, so give us your overall take on this. Do you think the grilled teriyaki shrimp with fried rice in a pineapple bowl, which I guess I haven't even really described this to people. A pineapple bowl, he's sliced this pineapple in half longitudinally.
Yes. Hot dog style.
Hot dog style. Hollowed it out and then served the rice in there. This is something I've seen. Have you guys ever seen this before? Or am I a crazy person?
I probably have seen it at another Thai restaurant.
Okay, right? Thai restaurants have served this. It's a state fair. It's a vibe to me. Where are you on this? Do you think, before we get into closing arguments, I'm going to give you a chance now. Is this actual recipe worth making at home? Is there a version of this? What would you do if you were to make this again?
I would nix the presentational bowl. I would use the pineapple meat to fry pineapple flesh to. They're both
just
bad.
Pineapple, just pineapple.
The pineapple material to stir fry into the rice and serve it on a big plate. I think, and then a bunch of skewers of grilled shrimp. I think would be better. Plus, this only holds like
a small amount.
8 ounces of fried rice.
Well, let's get into some of the feedback because this speaks to some of the feedback I had.
Here we go.
I'm going to skip through everything and just go to one of my critiques, which was, I will say to that point, I didn't consider the wastefulness of it all. I'm glad you brought that to my attention. But my first impression, and Josh was there as well, I wonder if he had a similar reaction when you arrived with one single half pineapple. My first thought was, A, where's the other half of the pineapple? B, do we not each get a half pineapple full of rice with shrimp? My critique was, where the hell is my pineapple? Man? That was my real critique.
Oh, you thought this was going to be a single serving half pineapple?
That ain't shareable.
How expensive would this be in a restaurant if it was a single serving?
I don't know anything about food costs, but I assume you get all the pineapple material out of it. You sell the pineapple material, and you're just selling this as a bowl. I want to hold it in one hand and eat it.
Okay. The tax that you pay by getting this is that the other half goes to me.
You just took the other pineapple at home.
Yes.
What's the pineapple
it's a 50%
on the inside? Was that in the dish?
Tax. Huh?
Was the pineapple that was on the inside? Was that in the dish?
It's in a deli over there at the couch.
Oh, okay, got it.
Wait,
so you just used the bowl. You didn't put the pineapple inside the rice.
No, there's a slice of pineapple on your plate.
Oh, okay.
Wait, no.
Okay.
Don't, Josh. Don't let him off that easily. We each, I believe, got one slice of pineapple.
How much pineapple do you want?
How much do you need? How much did you keep without giving us the rest of the pineapple?
I kept half. I said.
I feel like 50%. Deserves a little bit of a congressional investigation as to where the hell the rest of the pineapple went,
Pastor
man.
taco amount of pineapple.
Okay.
Yeah, what?
Okay, that's true.
A single pastor
It was
taco.
single beep. I'd like to serve this to you in its state now with a sharp spoon.
And to dig it out for ourselves.
We can do a little. No, I want to give you the adventure of digging it out yourself.
You should testify before Congress because this is bull.
Tuna ring and they give you a little clam shell.
Here are some of my positives.
Here we go.
Fried rice was excellent. I do really enjoy. I think you can get pretty close to wok on a grill. I really enjoy the presentation of this. I thought it was a very dramatic, beautiful presentation in the pineapple bowl, and that sauce consistency was incredible. No gloop, no lump, just pure, thick, juicy teriyaki.
All right, give me the criticisms.
Joshua Skenes says, great sauce, great grilled flavor, great pineapple. You can't elaborate?
Now I know you're lying. Now I know you're lying.
I don't know what else to say.
You have no criticisms. You found this dish to be great. You should testify.
He is great 4 times.
You just is great across the board here.
Yeah,
I didn't bring you on this show to just say great all across the board.
You thought I was going to come on here and be honest?
I want some honesty out of you.
Just kidding. No, that was great.
Let me ask you this, Skenes. You used to grill pineapple quite a bit and baste it in all sorts of things. Mm-hmm. Do you think grilling the pineapple shell would have been a thing?
Yeah, I think if you could have, maybe basted it with a little rum and brown sugar and, maybe a little honey, baste it for a few hours and then scoop it into the rice.
Oh, that
I
would
could have
have
seen
been
that.
actually good.
Could've worked.
few hours.
Imagine that.
Will you tell us a little bit about the grilling pineapple process that you used to do or that you've done before whenever you've had in restaurants?
I mean, I think we've done so many. I mean, I don't know. There's so many, but I would say, that rum, brown sugar, and honey, just hanging above the fire for 8 hours or so, and then, serve it with whatever.
Time means nothing to this guy. 8 hours here, 8 hours there. Deb, you thought the pineapple flavor was very prominent
Actually, yeah.
in spite of the lack of
Oh, I think because yours had.
Did I get more of the edge?
More of the. There was juice at the bottom.
Oh, so I got the last scoop.
Oh,
So
you
mine
got
was
the-
more-
Is that the prime?
The juicier
You
bit.
got all the acid from
Yeah.
the pineapple. You got the good stuff. Yeah.
Very nice. Well cooked shrimp. Not too heavy. Nice and light, not greasy. You thought it could use a little more salt, a little more acid, and a little more fat.
Oh wow!
Okay, okay.
That's
It's
everything,
because
by
I'm
the
fat.
way.
It's because I'm fat.
I use a little more shrimp,
more pineapple, more rice.
No, I thought it was. The reasons why I thought it was great, but it's because it's light. Probably everything else at the barbecue is much heavier. But I'm like a fatty, so I like a super greasy, right.
So you appreciated, in theory, the lightness, the
Right.
It depends as a
Healthiness.
standalone dish or as part of a meal. As part of a meal, I think it's great. But if it was a standalone dish, I would want more fat.
or your own pineapple bowl.
Or your,
Oh,
I was
yeah,
gonna
yeah,
say,
that would be awesome.
that
It was
gonna-
nice and light. I like that.
Okay, so
It's the worst compliments I've ever received. It was nice and light. I like that.
all right, we're gonna take a quick break. And we'll be right back with the rest of our recipe reports. While we were gone, before we get into the second recipe, I want to point out something that Justin was just saying during that break. Justin, you tell the people what you discovered in the middle of that break?
So we did a little chicharron snacking break. I didn't know how long Josh was going to be out for. Could have been a while. I thought I had time. She thought she had time. We took some chicharrones and I dipped it in the samjang that Deb brought. And because of the sesame oil in it and the crispiness, it reminded me of a very well toasted piece of bread with peanut butter and jelly on top. And it was very pleasant.
And I thought this is interesting because that's something.
That's what I think of with
What?
chicharron and samjang and peanut butter and jelly.
I just think that these things only emerge in a potluck scenario, in a sort of buffet style scenario where you've got a plate mounted up with food and a bunch of things that weren't intended to go together end up together. You end up with your samjang coated chicharron
It was lovely.
that some of us think tastes like peanut butter and jelly.
It's pretty good. Reminiscent.
You disagree? Will you taste one here
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the
give
air
me one.
for
Let's
us
taste it.
and,
Is there
and
Did you
tell
have a
us
chicharron? Where'd you get it from?
let's confirm this or not.
do
Here,
you
I'll
mean?
go
I
grab
think
you
they're
right
right over there on the right. Grab one of those things.
It was well, I mean, sesame has that kind of effect on me. It's very peanutty, you know.
It is very sesame.
when it's toasted.
You want to try one?
Yeah.
But because there's a little sweetness in the
This is a live experiment here to confirm Justin's initial findings that a chicharron dipped in samjang tastes a little bit like peanut butter and jelly.
but like well toasted white bread.
Totally.
Yeah.
You don't believe it for a second.
Just sure.
Deb, great, confirmed.
I see it. It's no banana and caviar, but it's good.
Okay,
I know
well,
what you're trying to say. I understand what you're trying to say,
like the
Justin. I
fatty,
get it.
crunchy.
Justin's dish getting brutalized, and then his Pichetrungsi Samjang theories being discarded by these non-scientists over here. All right, we're going to move into our second recipe report after that quick scientific break. Josh, I'm going to go to you second here.
What do we got?
You elected to make a grilled pork jerky inspired by I want to say Isan Thai pork jerky dish that I will not pronounce unless Justin wants to try.
Yep. Yeah, I think so.
I think that not a lot of people will think to make a quote unquote jerky at a backyard barbecue. Talk to me about this idea.
I mean, honestly, I just had some leftover pork loins sitting in my fridge. And, I think, jerky is a great way to make, to preserve stuff.
Sure.
So made some jerky out of it.
And how did you do that?
So this one might not be that easy.
Oh, really?
It could have been a little more complicated than the recipe is written.
The recipe you sent me.
But no, it's really not, though. Here's the deal. You pound out a piece of meat, you marinate it, you smoke it. It's done.
So this
Might have been smoked for 9 hours, but
So
that's
we're-
not a big deal, though, right?
What we're looking at here is basically big, thin sheets of pork jerky that are roughly the size of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. Each one of these is
A little bigger,
tenderloin that you pounded out.
Yeah, more or less.
I'm going to ask you all the detailed
More or
questions.
less.
When you're pounding out a tenderloin, you just lay it out flat and you're pounding it.
Yeah, you just lay it out. It's funny, these questions, I have to backpedal in my mind to get to that beginning point. Yeah, you just pound it out. You put it on a table and you pound it until it's thin.
What kind of table?
You know what I mean?
I want to know.
A very special table, I'm sure, knowing you.
I feel like everybody knows what pounded meat is, right?
This is marinated in, according to your recipe, honey.
Okay, let's see. I think we got honey, we got brown sugar,
Rum?
little seasoning. No, that's the pineapple. And we got chilies, we got garlic. What else do we have in there?
Fish sauce.
I don't even remember. What's on the
Fish
paper?
sauce.
This is just stream of consciousness. I
Black
just
and
wrote
white
it.
pepper, garlic, and then the toasted rice powder
Yeah.
in the
Yeah, that's
marinade.
right. Yeah. Fish sauce.
You marinate it, and then in your instructions, you said to smoke it at 140 degrees.
Smoke at 140, somewhere around there. 130, 140, 150 is fine. Doesn't really matter. You can go a little higher. It's just going to dry out faster. Yeah. I mean, I think that this is more of a wet jerky, right? Wet jerky. Yeah.
Sure.
So, but you can dry it all the way.
If you were to
Smoke it to however you want it.
if you were to hang this up to dry it, it would be preserved.
I think you have to go a little further. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think you got to go till it's fully dry, like a piece of jerky, like a gas station jerky.
And you serve this with the. I mean, you're pretending like this is not Thai, but these are very much like the accompaniments that you would have with Isan sausage or anything like a grilled meat. You've got cabbage, sawtooth herbs, julienne ginger, some habanero chilies that nobody braved, some Thai green chilies, peanuts,
We can do later.
herbs, all sorts of things here, some jasmine rice. And then what was your sauce?
What was that sauce? You tell me.
That was very much like a chow sauce, very northern style, chili forward.
Is that normal with jerky?
Yeah, you've definitely seen it with jerky. Yours is like a
there you
fresh red chili. Usually in the north they go roasted or dried.
Yeah.
And
I had that in there too.
some chicharron as well. What the sauce was lime juice, sugar,
Lime juice, fish sauce, sugar, chilies, garlic. Yeah.
McGroot lime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lime leaf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is what are people what are you chasing when you're trying to balance this sauce? Because you talk about flavor balance quite a bit. I feel like Thai cuisine people misunderstand as super spicy or super acidic or super whatever, but in fact, it is a crazy balancing act. Like what are you looking for? Like help people make a sauce, even if they're not tasting it. How are you identifying balance in something that is very flavorful, has lots of acidity going on, has lots of things at play here?
Well, I mean, I think for Thai sauce, I don't really know. I'll let Justin speak to that. But for this, I think it's just the idea of, you got a base flavor of savoriness, right? So imagine the pork. And then you need to build, whatever the secondary flavor is. So in this case, it's sweetness. And you got to throw some spice on there. A little smoke and you're good to go,
No, it's interesting you say that way. Like in Thai cuisine, they always think about what flavor hits first, second, third, fourth, So like with this jerky, it's going to be sweet, sweet, then savory, then spicy, or sweet, spicy, savory, funky, or whatever it is. But I think that's
really interesting. I've never really thought about it in terms of which one hits first
the sequence.
In what order is really, really interesting.
Yeah, it's important for taste balance, right? It's like you got to pick. If you're going sweet, you got to pick sweet first. Then you can add a little salt or salinity to it or savoriness or whatever. But you have to pick one, otherwise they clash and it just tastes weird.
How does smoke or char usually factor in when you're balancing that in terms of these flavors? Because this was smoked for a long time. How long did you smoke this?
I don't know. I have no idea. Like 8 hours,
over
something
what?
like that. I don't know. I just did it.
Over what? This is called Recipe Club, Josh. Giving people some idea of how the recipe worked is important. Okay, so
let's see. I think it was about 8 hours or so. Yeah.
Okay. Over what?
Cherry wood.
Mm-hmm. And how do you? So back to the original question: how does smoke factor in as a flavor, generally for you? Like, do you have in the way that people talk about balancing, sweetness and heat or spice? Can you think of smoke in that same way?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a supporting flavor. I don't think it's the primary flavor. I think it's something there that basically, like, even if you made this stuff in the dehydrator, I think it'd be great. But then you add smoke and it just takes it to that next level in flavor, I think is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's get into some of the feedback we had here for this dish. Deb, we'll start with you. You thought texture incredible. Can you describe the texture for people who aren't getting to taste this thing?
It's like, it's like a little bit shreddy, but there's like a good bite to it. There's like the fatty parts are a little bit more chewy. The little charred bits are like, it's just great.
Spice, exclamation point, smokiness and freshness of herbs. Your criticisms were you want more. You want that. So there are different pieces.
Yeah, initially I made, it was a user error. I wanted a fatty piece. I didn't get one, and then chef gave me one, so I edited my critique.
Because there was a couple of pieces of the tenderloin that had the sort of fat cap pounded out too.
Yep.
And some of us didn't get one right away. I found the sauce again. The Jew was like crazy. It's so flavorful. I saw you added quite a bit of lime to it, and it doesn't taste overly acidic. The smoke is nice as a background thing. Justin and I both laughed when you put down the gigantic pile of julienne ginger as a accompaniment to this. But honestly,
I think it's good with
very
meat,
nice,
smoky meat.
Very nice ginger, like a lot of ginger with smoky fatty meat for sure. Overall, it's a bright, fresh, savory, insane dish. The chicharron, which you made, was very good, but I can't grade you on chicharron. This is a backyard barbecue episode. My critiques were, I'm going to say this, Deb made a bite that was you didn't think was exactly as it was supposed to be. You said it was better when he made you a bite. I also found the optionality here a little challenging. It's too many paths to go down. I need to be taken to Flavor Town.
That makes sense.
With my hand being held. The other question I had was, if somebody's not going to smoke this, for 8 hours, is there a shortcut to this? Is there a version of this where you're just pounding this out, you're just marinating, and I'm just grilling it?
Well, I think like this is, you can throw this on your Weber and be done in a couple hours, right? It doesn't have to be 8 hours. I just lovingly cared for it.
But you think smoking it to jerky texture is crucial as opposed to, could I just grill this as a piece of grilled meat?
No, you can let's do that. Grill it. You can do it however you want it.
Okay, because my second critique was this seems impossible.
Yeah.
No, it's not. I mean, listen, at the end of the day, this is a marinated piece of meat. It's like, it was just because it was pounded out thin and it looks ridiculous. It was still, it's a marinated piece of meat and I threw it on the grill. That's it. It's really the process.
8 hours.
Right? For the most part.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Yeah, because I think it's
incredible.
really interesting. I like the texture of this. Again, jerky is something that I don't think a lot of people think to grill. And I wonder if there was a texture that's somewhere between jerky and just a grilled piece of meat. And I think if you were to just grill it and do it in a different way, you could achieve that as well. Justin, your feedback, your first positive feedback was just the Batman insignia.
That's right.
Can you say a bit more?
No.
Can you elaborate on that? What does that mean?
I mean, this is straight up Thai vigilante cooking under a mask. You're Thai underneath. And
Love the dip.
Okay.
The crudité are skull.
I just did a skull emoji.
You love sawtooth. For
Love
those who don't
sawtooth.
know, can any of you sort of describe the flavor of sawtooth herb?
They also call it like English coriander. And it has a kind of a flat coriander flavor. It's more flavor, but it's also flat. It's not so like bright. It's nice. It's got a good chew. It's got a good texture, a little bit more tannic.
Justin, your critiques, you're upset about how good this was.
It was really satisfying.
Grilled is better. What did that mean?
Grilled is better. We were having a debate if
fresher, the
if we should
smoked
go
one?
fresh. Yeah, just smoked or smoked then grilled. I mean, in Thailand, you have jerkies that are just dehydrated. You have some that are dehydrated then fried. Then you have some that are dehydrated then grilled. And they're all kind of great, in their own right. But I love the grilled one.
Your questions about this dish. Which region of Thailand are you from, Josh?
I don't even know where this dish is from.
Can you say a little bit before we move on to our last dish? We set up a grill outside. I thought it was hilarious the way that Spotify employees just walk by as though nothing were happening whatsoever. Just
Like, this is just a regular.
totally doesn't matter to them that there's a live fire happening right in front of them on their way to their offices. We set it up in a Weber, just a regular kettle grill, charcoal to start, and then you threw some wood on there. You said something interesting. You don't really love charcoal, whether it's briquettes or lump charcoal.
I didn't love the budget charcoal that you bought.
It's the most expensive
little too
charcoal
hot
at the supermarket.
Safeway.
It was the most expensive one at the supermarket.
Yeah, I mean, charcoal has less flavor. It burns too hot and has less flavor for this purpose. Right? We want that slow burn of an amber so you get more flavor from the wood.
But if I'm at home and I want to recreate this to some level, buy wood somewhere.
Yeah, just buy wood from the grocery store. It's fine. Buy it anywhere.
Just any old
There's
firewood.
wood delivery services in LA or wherever.
And then toss it onto an already started charcoal fire, basically.
Yeah, or just burn down wood and use it.
Your descriptions of
challenging?
recipes.
It's not. It's just burn the wood and use it.
8
I don't know.
hours.
What's the difference between charcoal and wood? Right?
You
Is
may
it
be
really
the
that much more
least helpful
difficult?
recipe
Or do
club
we
guest
just-
of all time. Least helpful advice we've ever had here on the show.
But
Recipe
is
club.
is it not helpful or is it more helpful? Because it's just that simple. Just burn it down.
People haven't really done it before. So how far? I mean, just give us a visual indicator. How burned down do we want it to be?
Yeah. So here you go. So first of all, just take a few logs. You can use charcoal. Charcoal is fine. Burn the logs down until they're a pile of glowing embers, and then throw your jerky on there.
Basically, they're not smoking anymore because they're not.
Well, you don't. Here's the thing: you don't want flame. So you want a pile of coals, let's call it, or ambers, right? And then then at that point you're not the likelihood of you burning the stuff is going to be much lower.
Dave Chang and I have given you so much stick on the Dave Chang show about ember cooking. Here I am presenting you with an opportunity to explain your perspective on cooking over embers.
This is Recipe Club. We're supposed to keep it simple, right? We're not going to. That's for a different pod, I think. Right?
Good God. Okay. Well, that is 2 recipes down. We have 1 left to go, which we're going to get to right now. Deb, you chose Korean BBQ Pork Ribs from Korean Bapsang, a website that I feel is number 2 to Mangchi in terms of sort of Korean home cooking popularity.
She's the queen.
Were you, before we get into your actual recipe here, were you familiar with this blog, this site? Is this something?
Not really.
Yeah.
I don't really Google like kind of recipes like that, I guess, very often. But initially, I mean, obviously, like, I was thinking of going beef route, right? Some sort of short rib, some sort of whatever. But pork is kind of quintessentially like more Korean in a sense because beef is expensive. And, so like a lot of times if you eat barbecue in Korea, it's going to be like more pork-based barbecue. So no, I'm not very familiar with the website, but it was like pretty thorough. It gave you like different sauce options too if you wanted like a non-spicy option. But yeah, I thought the recipe was great.
So take us through the process here. What did we do?
So the marinade is like very simple. I actually kind of did both sauces. They do like a soy one and they do like a gochujang based one. The soy one is very like classic, like any bulgogi or kalbi, like onions, apples, garlic, some sort of like rice wine vinegar type thing, and soy.
I thought you said something interesting, and it sort of dovetails with what Josh was talking about with his dish. She specifically was like, I like a lot more ginger in my marinades if I'm going to be grilling pork ribs. And there is just something about ginger with grilled meat that is really good. So, so marinades, you kind of combine the spicy and the sweet.
Well, I marinated it in the sweet, and then I picked a recipe where I would use the oven. So you just marinate it overnight, and then you just put it in an oven. You just seal it with like, aluminum foil or whatever. And it's like an hour and a half-ish in the oven. And I finished half of it in my oven. I just like basted it with the gochujang sauce that I reduced down. And then I broiled it. And then I brought one that was like a bigger, fattier one. I finished it on the grill. Kind of got both. To be honest, the broiled one, like, kind of is better. I mean, because I didn't get enough time on there to really impart like wood smoky flavor. So this one was just kind of more uniform browning in the broiler. Also super easy, but I've thrown barbecues where, people would bring me meat and it would be like a vac sealed pork rib. And it's like, what do you want me to do? In the middle of the barbecue, like, you want me to like cook this rib that's like totally unprepared. It's gonna take so long. So even if it was my barbecue, if I was bringing it to a barbecue, it really just needed to finish and warm up on the grill.
Who would do such a thing to you? Who would bring you just a vacuum sealed bag of rib
people
and be
that
like,
don't make food.
here's my contribution.
Yeah.
Make me this rib.
To bring something, but yeah, that's not the ideal
Did they vacuum
contribution.
seal it themselves?
No, like they just...
It wasn't vac sealed and marinated.
No, not vac sealed and marinated. I just like, you buy it from the store in the original
it's pork
packaging.
in a bag.
It's pork in a bag. And it's like, I'll keep this for myself for a future event, or, I'll cook it in a few days. But, that's like not what to bring to... If you're going to bring raw meat, don't bring raw unmarinated ribs.
Yeah. Something you said really stuck out to me, that you had essentially 2 or 3 racks of ribs and you sort of looked at them and said, I'm going to save the fattier one to finish on the grill. And I just think this is something that people maybe don't even think about, that, when you follow a recipe, you say, okay, it says buy 5 chicken thighs and do X, Y, or Z thing. And you look at them and say, why did this not turn out correctly? Because you just sort of assume that everything is going to be the same, that a chicken thigh is a chicken thigh is a chicken thigh, a rack of ribs is a rack of ribs is a rack of ribs. I feel like the intuition that you three have as chefs is something that I you see constantly with good cooks, is you're looking away from the recipe. This is Recipe Club, and one of the things we try to wean people off of is the kind of blind adherence to, well, it said 25 minutes, and I did it for 25 minutes. This intuitive response to what is the thing in front of me. what is, this piece of meat is fattier. It's going to do something different than this piece that is leaner. Or this piece is X, Y, or Z thing. I'm going to save this to finish on the grill as opposed to these other ones. Like, I think that is an important thing that doesn't come through in a recipe, is to just sort of respond to what is actually happening. So I applaud this kind of recipe. This is doing ribs in the oven is a total hack. Like, a proper smoked barbecued rib is I think a pretty challenging thing to achieve, to smoke a rib so that it is the right texture. I actually don't think ribs that are sort of sliding off the bone and have just sort of dissolved into softness is great. I think you want chew on it. I think that's hard to do for most cooks on the grill. And I applaud this because I would never in a million years, if you guys were coming to my house, served you this. I wouldn't have served you this. I wouldn't have served Justin this. I wouldn't have served Josh this, because I would get just like, oh, well, he can't do it. But this is a total move that people who are less comfortable with backyard grilling should do, which is basically take your meat to the exact right point in the level of cook you want it, and then finish it on the grill, to something Justin was talking about earlier. Can you talk a little bit about the presentation?
The presentation itself is pretty, it just looks like any other
Your
rib,
presentation
really.
had a lot of punch.
Oh,
in
yeah.
them.
You cheated.
Like the accoutrements.
Yeah, please.
You cheated.
You cheated for sure.
I feel like if you're going to have like a Korean barbecued meat, you kind of need some sort of so there's like some red leaf lettuce, there's some other lettuce. It's like a Korean like flat chive, and like a little perilla I think is nice.
Is that cream corn?
Oh, I did make a corn just cause. It was, kind of like a corn cheesy. I felt like it was like a barbecue-y vibe.
Yeah.
But it's really just like butter,
It looks really good.
cream cheese, and like a bunch of black pepper. I like went very heavy on the black pepper.
Wait, I didn't taste this at all.
Oh yeah, there's like two delis of it. Yeah. It's just like a nice, like a little barbecue thing.
Little cream cheese corn on the side.
I never had cream cheese in my cream corn.
You never lived.
Yeah, it's like, it's like kind of felt steakhousey, like a spinach or, kind of vibe.
I have to assume that because you arrived with maybe 17 panchan.
Yeah, I think it was like only like 10 today.
She's from Soban. It's the Panchan Palace.
I have to assume that comes.
Did you bring those from your restaurant?
Yeah, I actually I didn't get to drop by the restaurant, so I like Uber parceled it to the studio
from your own restaurant to here.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, if nothing else, if you're out there and you're having backyard barbecues, and to your point, it's Korean, you need sam. If you're not already serving your whatever meats, it doesn't have to be Korean barbecue, anything with accoutrement, lettuces, herbs, all of that stuff, then you're just doing it wrong. So let's get into some of the feedback here. Here's my actual reaction to this. I was eating one of these ribs, and my first thought was, well, this isn't salty enough. It's not seasoned enough. And at the exact second that I was starting to write that down, you put the samjang in front of me, and all of my problems were solved, because that brought all the saltiness that I thought was missing from the meat itself. It was a perfect bite after that. What is in the samjang?
So it's really mostly just like doenjang, so like Korean fermented soybean, gochujang, a little bit of gochugaru too, just cause bunch of garlic, and then of course like there's like a little bit of scallions in there, and then like I put some sesame oil on the side.
Very delightful. That sesame oil, of course, makes chicharron taste like peanut butter and jelly, as we found out today.
Of course.
I thought the texture was very, I alluded to this thing where people like meat falling off the bone, where it's just sort of, you could chew it with dentures. I thought the texture was not that. I thought it was like a nice cook on there. My criticisms were, the panchan is so good. But only you have access to this.
Oh, yeah.
Can I come to Soban and just buy a puncheon and
You
bring it
actually
home?
can, yeah.
Okay, never mind. I take
It's
that
actually
away.
a good July 4th.
Like a special. or
Special.
Just the accoutrements only. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
BYO meats.
You should like BYO meats. It's
Yeah.
just have people bring a cryovac rack of ribs to your restaurant and be like, we'll prepare this for you.
I'm doing that.
Josh, you're. I can't tell if I'm reading the comments from the other dish or from this one. Great texture, great flavor, great punch on. Any other thoughts on rib cookery?
No, I mean, it could have got a little crispier on the outside, but
Yeah.
A little more time on the grill, a little more smoke, maybe. What? Here's a question for you, Joshua Skenes. Most people are pork rib people. Baby back ribs, I think, in most people's minds, are the apex of ribs. What animal rib are we underrating?
ooh, elk ribs, maybe mountain ram.
Almost knew you were
I mean,
going
I
to
would
say
say
those two.
oh, really?
Right? There was no way he wasn't going to
Really, what I was going to say was black bear, but
Black
people
bear
don't like
rib.
that, yeah. But that's very controversial.
How big is the moose rib? What are we talking about here?
A moose rib?
Yeah.
Elk rib or
Elk
moose rib?
rib,
I've said
excuse me,
elk.
elk rib.
I mean, an elk rib is probably about this big, like that. Yeah. But no, yeah, about like this, about like that. Yeah.
That's a big rib.
What's a black bear rib taste like?
I mean, like the
Chicken.
best beef you've ever had.
No.
Seriously, like the best beef you've ever had. But better. Did you ever had? Oh wait, Chris had.
No, I had.
bear strami one time that I made.
I think I had bear strami.
Yeah.
I had bear fat in a pie. I had bear paw.
Yeah, yeah.
You used to serve what was the sort of one of your last menus at Saison was for that final course, like the big grilled thing. There was a big rib on that too, right? I feel like you were serving an elk rib at the end of the meal there.
I don't know.
Another
I don't know.
More helpful insight from Chef Josh.
There's so many
Justin.
wild animals that we've served there.
Positives. Tender. Good crust.
I like the crust. I thought it was good.
This is a good point. Perfect to sandbag and finish on the grill. Just as you said.
Yeah.
You could have used a little more juiciness.
Well, yeah.
And you wanted yours spicier.
But I think the thing about Korean meats is that they're always just slightly not as spicy as I want them, like the deji bulgogi, and it's not as spicy as I want it to be, and the beef is not as salty as I want it to be. But that's the reason why everything is there. Is for you to make it the way you want it.
Exactly.
I like that.
Yeah. This was the best version you've had. Better than Hamuji, which is what?
Hamuji Park.
I can't agree, but I appreciate it.
I think it's
Which is
better.
what for the listeners
they're
out
so
there.
classic.
Is the classic beloved pork rib K-Town spot, and it's very good. But I would say that this has more flavor. It's got more texture because I think they use too much tenderizer. Too much meat tenderizer. When it's like over tenderized meat, and you're like, that's just cheating.
When you think there's too much meat tenderized, for anybody who's just like trying to relate to this, is it a flavor thing or is the meat what I'm talking about where it's just like it's mushy and soft?
Too soft.
It's too soft.
It's too soft.
Yeah.
That one is more like a braisy one, though.
It is brazy.
Yeah.
Well,
But I haven't been in a while.
Maybe it's braised
We'll
first.
go back.
We'll go back. We'll
Yeah.
find out.
that does it for our recipe reports. We are going to get into our closing arguments. I'm going to give each of these three a opportunity to make the case one more time that if you're having a backyard barbecue, you should follow them down the path they have traveled here. Justin, we're going to go back to you. Grilled teriyaki shrimp in a pineapple bowl. Hey man, it's summer. It's time to have a barbecue. Why should I be making this dish?
Look, shrimp is easy to peel, devein, skewer. Teriyaki sauce is all but 3 or 4 ingredients. And my dish can be done on one grill, and you get 2 stations out of it because you can make the walk outside. I think you should pick my dish because it's easier than Josh's and Deb's. And I guarantee you.
Josh, it's grilling and chilling season. For those who have never thought to grill or make pork jerky, why should they try this out?
I mean, look, I know he says it's easier, but this is, at the end of the day, this is just some meat you can throw on the grill. You just got to put it in a little sauce first. You got to pound it for 97 minutes. And you just got to throw it on the grill. It's not a big deal.
This is, over the course of our long friendship, there have been a number of opportunities or not opportunities, situations where I have tried to or needed to extract some sort of a recipe from Chef Skenes here.
Like honestly, like hearing him talk, it's like if no one here knows like how genius your cooking is, you know, the viewers, like your cooking is genius. I mean, and you saying that stuff, it's
Definitely
like
no one knows that.
It's like Amadeus saying
is,
you know, like you just go on the piano and you just make a symphony at the age of 4.
Yeah, this is exactly it. And,
You know?
and I am simultaneously so frustrated by the detail here, but also so happy that people I know who will listen to this and understand the frustration I have felt over the years when I've tried to understand some of that genius, Justin. I've tried to grasp how he makes things so delicious, and it is always this tone. You just put some meat on the grill and you cook it and you do it right and it tastes good. that is the full picture.
That's kind of how I thought about it.
Deb, it's over to you. Closing arguments. Why should people follow you down this path of the par oven cooked, grill finished Korean marinated rib from KoreanBBQ.com?
You know, I would argue that this is probably easier than the fried rice.
Somebody's lying. Somebody at the table is lying.
Because a fried rice, depending on how moist the rice is, like you can get sticking, you can get, you know, there's actually, fried rice is very tricky. If you go to Anajak, fried rice is incredible, right? They cook on the wok. It's like, there's so much flavor. There's an oily flavor. You know, there's a lot to of simple fried rice, right? This part, I mean, is, you know, it's just me. You know, you pound it on your grill. But, you know, like, so, I mean, I thought it was the most delicious thing I've had in a long time, but I couldn't make this in my apartment, you know?
This is the most apartment ready.
Yeah, this is definitely
recipe.
the most apartment ready recipe. And like, you don't even have to finish it on the grill.
I thought this was a backyard barbecue.
Yeah, no, it is.
Not an apartment ready recipe.
Some of us don't have backyards.
Yeah.
Some of us have
My balcony is my backyard.
This closing argument segment is the equivalent of that Spider-Man meme where all the Spider-Mans are pointing at each other. Each one of them has said, well, mine is easier than these two.
Yeah.
That has been the closing argument all around. So with all of the evidence laid out before me, all of the accusations of one another's dishes being too difficult, I am going to now take these scores, combine them with the scores of our producers back there, come back and give you your to-go orders before we anoint a winner of the Backyard Barbecue episode of Recipe Club. We are back, and of course it is almost time for everyone's favorite part of a Backyard Barbecue, judgment and scoring. But before we get into that, we have to give you your to-go orders, 3 takeaways for a great backyard barbecue. First, Justin pointed it out in the beginning, a great backyard barbecue recipe is going to be at least somewhat sandbaggable. Something that is not going to tie you to the grill for the entire time that your friends and family are visiting with you. It can be prepared before and finished later.
Like slowly cooked turkey.
Like slowly cooked jerky. This guy's still trying to make his case, even though closing arguments are over. Number 2, this was my thing, and I think each one of these proved it. A great backyard recipe is something that is actually going to gain something from being grilled, smoked, finished on your grill. It's going to get a little char from that very high heat. It is even fried rice, something that you're going to make and get that wok from a super hot grill. And finally, number 3 of your takeaways. This is very, very detailed, but it was something that emerged both with Deb's and Josh's dishes here. Ginger goes really nicely with grilled meat. It's highly specific, but that's what we're here for. So with all of that out of the way, I'm here to announce a winner for the Backyard Barbecue episode. These three each rated one another's dishes based purely on deliciousness out of a possible maximum score of 5.0. We took their scores, we averaged it out to give us one number. Meanwhile, my three producers in the booth, all amateur cooks, have been listening in this whole time. They have not gotten to taste anything. They've given me a score based on which one of these dishes they are most likely to try out for themselves. And finally, I added my own score for the thoughtfulness and cleverness and creativity with which each person approached not just the task of making this thing, but the subject of a backyard barbecue. There's a maximum possible score of 15 points available today. We're going to start with the deliciousness score, which was a little hard to tabulate because somebody broke past the 5.0 mark and gave a higher score than possible. Today's deliciousness winner out of a possible 5.0 score is Josh Skenes with a score of 4.875.
Wow.
That is a high-ass score for deliciousness. The producers, the recipe that they are most likely to pursue themselves, it may not come as a surprise. We've got a few apartment dwellers in the booth today. They all chose Deb's rib dish as their most likely recipe that they would make for a backyard or balcony barbecue. I'm really appreciating the golf claps we're getting here. And finally, for thoughtfulness and creativity, I gave a score of 4.3 to the winner for the thoughtfulness creativity category, to Justin, for everything he had to say about not only his dish, but the art of backyard barbecuing. So with all of that in mind, the scores added together, tabulated, sent to PricewaterhouseCoopers for verification. We have one winner today with a total score of 13.02 out of a possible 15. Let me just say this. It is frustrating as hell that this is the result. I am extremely upset to announce this because he has been so difficult to squeeze information from in this episode. And this is just a taste of a decades-long friendship with this person where you can find them to be unbearably irritating and yet undeniably good at making food taste delicious. I think we all know who we're talking about here. Josh, congratulations on your inaugural visit to Recipe Club, leaving here with the victory and trillions of disappointed listeners.
I did, to be fair. I thought my house was burning down. It was getting broken into, so my alarm going off. So,
well, yeah. Anyway, it pains me yet again to tell you that you don't only get to walk out of here with bragging rights, you also get a prize. And this is something that I think you might actually get some use out of here. This is a prize that I was introduced to by the chef of L'Effervescence in Tokyo, Namai-san, who told me about his outdoor cooking excursions. They would go camping, and the big thing for him was a big pot of Japanese curry cooked over the flame and a pot of rice that was steamed. You hang it over the fire and cook it. And I said, well, how do you do that? And he said, you got to get one of these contraptions. It is a Japanese campfire rice cooker that you can cook rice.
That's pretty awesome.
The fire.
This is pretty sweet.
Wow.
Appropriate for my outdoor
very
friend here.
That's awesome.
I might cook you something in this one day. With a recipe.
Deb and Justin, you don't go home empty-handed, of course. In addition to this wonderful feast we had here, you are also leaving, courtesy of Meyer, the official cookware sponsor of Recipe Club, a piece of IO series cookware designed with and by David Chang. This is stuff we use at home and in the studio all the time. Wow. You can use those outside too. Don't use it over your barbecue. It's actually probably too hot for this, but use it inside. Thank you to Justin, Deb, and Josh for joining me on this episode of Recipe Club. Thanks to all of you out there for listening. Hopefully you got some good advice from at least 2 people to have a great backyard barbecue. I'm kidding. We're going to share all of these recipes on our website, and hopefully you will make good use of them. Thank you to Major Domo Media and The Ringer for bringing Recipe Club to you. Please give us 5 stars, however you rate your podcast, and we'll talk to you all very soon.